"You are not separate from the stars you dream beneath," she whispers, her voice soft as moonlight. Her hands move across a loom of living light. Long ago, before sleep and waking became different realms, she wove the sky with every feeling she carried. Each breath shimmered into silver. Each thought found a home among the constellations. But one night, her stars began to fade. Not because the world changed, but because her heart grew heavy. Still, in the hush that follows, something stirs. The quiet sense that even dimness holds a secret. The night waits, listening, as the loom of light begins to awaken. As the first quiet shimmer returns in the air, the loom of light awakens. Beneath the weaver's hands, the threads seem to stretch and sigh, waiting for her touch. Each one hums faintly, a living current of silver warmth. She draws in a slow breath, and the rhythm begins again, soft, steady, pulsing like a heartbeat drawn from the stars themselves. Her movements are unhurried. Each thread breathes with her, glowing faintly with meaning. Love burns warm as dawn, joy shimmers like morning mist, and even sorrow glows with a slow, cool grace. This is her ancient ritual, her only companion, the quiet of creation, the whisper of her breath, and the golden hum around her. She no longer presses toward an outcome. She listens. Each stroke of her hand becomes a response, each flicker of light a wordless conversation across the sky. In that stillness, constellations rise and fall, each one born not from effort, but from presence. The weaving is simply a reflection of her inner movement, mind and heart finding harmony together. But tonight, something feels different. The rhythm falters just slightly. A faint unease rises, subtle as wind through leaves. The fibers tremble under her touch. The hum becomes irregular. One newly formed star flickers, its light thinning like candle flame brushed by air. The weaver pauses. The dimness isn't in the loom. It lives within her own heart, a heaviness she has been carrying without wishing to see. Her hands fall still. She watches the threads loosen, their bright tension dissolving into slack. The night around her quiets. The silver field that once shimmered blissfully begins to dim, blurred by haze. Its fading feels familiar, a reflection of her own weariness. We too know that mirror, the way the world seems duller when the body tightens and the mind holds on too tightly. The breath becomes shallow, the jaw clenches, the brow draws together. Even the small muscles around the eyes tighten, as if bracing against light itself. The truth is, our bodies speak what our hearts have not yet said. The weaver notices, and instead of resisting, she allows the awareness to deepen. She softens the tension that rides through her arms and shoulders. Her breath lengthens. The next exhale unravels some invisible knot within her chest. Slowly, deliberately, she lets her shoulders drop away from her ears, her jaw release. The breath flows lower now, reaching into her belly. With each inhale, she invites space. With each exhale, she lets the heaviness go. A little more of the mind, a little more of the body. In this surrender, the loom itself begins to quiet again, its hum steadying with hers. The moonlight responds to her change. It spills through the window once more, not bright, but soft and open, just enough to touch her fingers with warmth. She understands now that the dimming was never punishment or loss. It was reflection, an honest echo of what she held inside. She sees how her creation is bound to her being, how the light dims when she clings to judgment or worry, and brightens when she releases control. For a moment, she thinks of resuming the old rhythm, forcing the pattern back into perfection. But the thought fades quickly. She has learned that command only clouds the thread. Instead, she chooses stillness. In that pause, something changes. The silence grows vast but kind. Her awareness itself becomes the act of renewal. It does not fix, it allows. It does not strive, it witnesses. One thread warms between her fingers, pulsing faintly with color. The loom hums again, faint but even, not in spite of her imperfection, but because of her honesty. Each breath deepens her calm. Each exhale releases the residue of effort. The body follows. The face smooths, the heart slows, the lower belly rises and falls with ease. A new balance returns, quiet and whole. Creation, she realizes, has always been a mirror of being. Presence itself is the loom. The weaving begins not in the hands, but in the breath, not in perfection, but in awareness. The moon drifts free of cloud, bathing everything in pale gold once more. The light does not yet blaze, but it feels alive, responsive, attuned, forgiving. The weaver's rhythm is gentler now. Her focus deepens, not outward, but inward, where each thread awaits her attention. The loom hums softly, as if anticipating her next discovery. The kind that begins within the heart before finding light in the sky. What if every feeling you hold shimmered as a thread in your own sky? These are the threads of emotion, the living fabric through which the weaver now begins to see her truth. As her hands rise once more, the loom reflects not just her touch, but her inner landscape. When warmth opens in her chest, the fibers glow gold, gentle as dawn after rain. When worry stirs, the threads darken, shadows sliding between her fingers. The cloth before her no longer hides her heart. It repeats it, perfectly honest. Every impulse, every breath of thought becomes visible as light and shade. At first, she tries to guide the colors back toward brightness. Her hands tighten. The movements become controlled, deliberate. But the gold dims further. The pattern loses shape, edges twisting against her effort. It's as if the loom itself resists force, an ancient wisdom woven into its fibers. Light can never be commanded. The more she pulls, the smaller the glow becomes. Then, through the mounting strain, a quiet insight arises. Physical effort cannot settle a restless heart, and forcing away unease only deepens it. The harder one tries to push discomfort aside, the more it anchors in place. A hush fills the air. Her shoulders ache from trying. The rhythm falters. Then she stops. Just stops. The silence opens wide around her, soft and steady. The tension she held begins to spill away, like sand slipping through fingers. Slowly her breath returns to its depth. Her forehead loosens. Her jaw unclenches. She lets out a small sigh, and the loom hums again. Low, slow, balanced with her own heartbeat. In this pause, she realizes she has begun a subtle but magical act, self-acceptance. Rather than fighting what she feels, she allows it. And in that allowing, the emotion starts to move, changing shape in the safety of her awareness. The threads respond in kind. They brighten not from control, but from her gentle presence. Soft gold stretches once more through the cloth, shimmering with warmth. It isn't perfection that restores its light. It is permission. The weaver remembers an old teaching. Emotion wants to be felt, not fixed. To accept sadness is to give it room to breathe. To welcome fear is to let it unfold and soften. The body, too, sighs in relief when judgment lifts. Breath deepens, the chest opens, and the nervous system settles, as if each inhale whispers, "You're safe," and the exhale answers, "Let go." The hum of the loom steadies itself to this rhythm. Inhale. The threads rise and shimmer. Exhale. They release and rest, weaving without direction but with grace. Each motion feels like healing made real. The more she accepts, the more her creation comes alive. Colors blending, edges mending, all born from compassion. Where effort once caused tangles, tenderness now brings flow. Then she notices one dark strand trembling in the weave, a remnant of an anxious thought she had not yet faced. Instead of reaching to fix it, she pauses, watches, simply breathes. The dark thread wavers, then begins to lighten. Within a few heartbeats, it loosens from the cloth like an old sorrow finally spoken. When it releases, it turns to mist and fades into the night. What remains is not loss, but softness, a quiet forgiveness that fills the space it leaves behind. The weaver feels her chest expand with it. Forgiveness, she thinks, is the purest form of light. It does not erase, it transforms. Where the shadow once lay, a new line grows, pale silver touched by gold. The fabric no longer hides its roughness, it embraces it. There's a wholeness in the weave now, richness shaped by both brightness and depth. She sees that no emotion lasts forever. Each one carries meaning, then dissolves when met with gentle awareness. Acceptance turns weight into wisdom, turning turmoil to quiet beauty. The loom hums in soft harmony. Stars shimmer faintly outside, mirroring this calm restoration within. The weaver rests her palms on her lap, sensing stillness return to her breath. Gratitude flickers through her, light as breeze through silk. And as night deepens around her, she feels a subtle change in the air, a hint that even peace will have its shadows to navigate, a reminder the work of balance never truly ends. Have you known a night when even beauty feels far away? The weaver of worlds knows this night well. Her hands still move with care, her loom still hums, yet the stars above speak more faintly now. The glow that once answered her every thought flickers, slow to return. She watches the threads dull, their brilliance fading into gray. For the first time in ages, she wonders if her gift has slipped beyond her reach, if her heart no longer remembers how to call light into being. The silence that surrounds her feels weightier than the cloth beneath her palms. She keeps weaving, hoping that motion alone might rekindle the brightness. Yet with every thread she guides, the starlight dims further. Doubt drifts in like mist, gentle but persistent. The thought begins quietly, perhaps I've lost the way, and grows roots deep within her chest. The air tightens around her, the loom's hum falters. The threads themselves seem to mirror the strain. Above her, clouds gather without wind, veiling the shimmer that once came so easily. Unease spreads through her body, subtle yet consuming. She fears that the darkness might undo everything she has built through countless nights of care. She tries to rise above it, to command the rhythm as before, but her efforts only add weight. Her hands, once steady and sure, now move in uncertain motions. The fabric ripples with uneven lines, the proof of her distress reflected plainly. Then a thought stirs, a whisper of an older wisdom. Fear does not vanish through denial. It only tightens when ignored. Darkness, she realizes, isn't punishment for imperfection but a signal. It asks for gentleness, not resistance. Yet her instinct is to push it away, to force calm where calm must unfold on its own. The loom responds honestly. The harder she tries, the heavier the cloth becomes. Inside her, the cycle continues. The breath shortens, shoulders tense, the pulse quickens. She can almost feel the constriction pattern taking shape within her body, matching the tangled weave before her. Research into relaxation and mindfulness speaks to this same truth. Resisting what we feel deepens strain. The body contracts, the mind follows. But when we meet tension with acceptance, when the breath is allowed to soften, the system settles and energy begins to flow more freely once more. She takes this insight inward. Her shoulders fall back, her hands grow still. She breathes deeply and simply looks at the dim threads before her. The silence is total, but within it she feels a small shift. A single tear wells and slips down her cheek. It lands softly upon the cloth. A sound like the faintest drop of rain. Where it touches, the weave brightens, forming a small pearled light that glows from within. She stares, quiet and moved. The light didn't come from will, but from truth. It rose from the honesty of feeling what was real. Even sorrow, she understands, carries wisdom. It shows the places that need care. The tear is not weakness, but information, not failure, but signal. Stress and pain have their own gentle intelligence. They help us see what asks to be released, what deserves our tenderness. In that moment, the weaver's breath deepens as warmth finds its way back into her chest. The loom responds with a low, even hum. Each thread shivers with a new ease, aligning themselves without command. The pattern begins to restore itself, guided by something deeper than technique, a quiet intelligence moving through her, through everything. She feels how surrender, not effort, can hold the truest power. The dark around her no longer feels hostile. It's spacious, familiar, the same darkness that lets stars be seen. Fear remains, but softly now, stripped of its edge. It stands beside her like an old companion, simply part of the night. She senses the shift as understanding takes its place. Darkness was never an ending, only a doorway back to clarity. Her weaving grows lighter. The cloth holds both shadows and brightness, their interplay giving depth and shape. Threads of gratitude begin to surface, a muted gold threading through the spaces between hues, softening every boundary. The tension eases entirely. What once felt like loss now feels like renewal, a quiet appreciation for the rhythm that continues through all cycles. As her breath steadies, the stars above her seem to pulse again, acknowledging her stillness. The loom gleams faintly under her hands, balanced once more between darkness and light. Something inside her begins to open toward a gentler energy that hums beneath all struggle, a quiet invitation for what comes next. Now the weaver turns once more to her loom, guided not by will, but by quiet thanks. This is the moment of weaving with golden gratitude, when creation becomes an act of appreciation. She sits in stillness, the threads before her lying calm and expectant. One hand rests lightly over her heart. The hum within her rises on its own, steady as breath. She does not summon light or color. She simply lets gratitude settle into her awareness. The loom mirrors her ease, its glow faint but alive, pulsing in time with the rhythm of rest. At first, little changes. The threads sway and glimmer without brilliance. This part of the journey always begins softly, as if the world holds its breath. A trace of doubt passes through her. Can the light return? Yet rather than grasp for brightness, she stays present. Breath by breath, she releases worry, allowing patience to take its place. The faint shimmer that emerges is distant at first, but enough. Gratitude, she remembers, starts as a whisper before it becomes an anthem. an inner movement toward peace when the heart feels weary. Gratitude is not a thought she forms, it is a truth she touches. Each slow inhale draws her deeper into herself, helping her rediscover the quiet essence that observes all things. Beneath motion, beneath story, she meets what she truly is: conscious awareness, patient and kind. With every exhale, old tension leaves through her fingers. The rhythm of her breath deepens and steadies, and the loom hums in harmony, like wind through tall grass or a tide returning to shore. Tiny points of light begin to appear where her hands rest. They spark gently, answering the warmth that rises from her chest. The gratitude she's awakening is not abstract, it's physical, alive within her. Science would say it brings the body back into balance, calming the heart's rhythm and the breath alike. She doesn't name it that way, yet she feels the truth in her own body. The soft release that comes with kindness, the ease that follows acceptance. The loom becomes part of her breathing, part of her being, as if skin and thread share one pulse of golden calm. Now the colors begin to open. Flow returns where strain once tangled. Soft gold blends into pale silver. Hints of rose and amber follow, delicate and new. Each movement sends warmth through her hands. Each breath paints light along the threads. It's the body's quiet grace turned visible, the miracle of presence creating form. She whispers her thanks, her voice barely a sound. Gratitude not for perfection, but for existing in this moment. Thank you, she breathes, for the chance to feel. The words unfurl in the silence, steady and true. Around her the air shifts. The hum grows fuller, resonating through the walls, through the night itself. The fabric stirs as if responding to her voice, threads brushing in gentle harmony, weaving patterns that resemble constellations seen through half-closed eyes. The warmth expands as she releases all effort. The light does not need to be held. It spreads on its own. Soon the fabric gleams as if touched by dawn. The glow stretches outward until it wraps the loom, the floor, even the breath of air within the room. Above, the stars flicker awake, their shimmer echoing her calm. Gratitude flows beyond her hands, beyond the cloth, until it fills the space with a soft, patient radiance. Love joins it naturally. The two currents weave together, indistinguishable, a single rhythm of grace. She feels no separation between herself, her work, or the world surrounding her. The melody of the loom steadies, gentle, low, unbroken. Each pulse within the weave mirrors her heartbeat. Stillness remains, but it's a living stillness, vibrant yet deeply soothing, drawing her into quiet rest. She closes her eyes, letting the sound linger within her chest. The hum continues even after her hands fall still, one continuous tone that seems to cradle her breath. The stars hold the same rhythm, their light slow and sure. The weaver feels herself align with that vast, peaceful tempo, a harmony that asks for nothing and offers everything. Gratitude has carried her here, to a place beyond striving, where peace is not created, but remembered. As the loom song softens into silence, the night seems to breathe with her. The light remains, steady as heartbeats fading into rest, and the air around her feels complete. The next moment will arrive without effort, rising from this calm as naturally as stars emerge from dusk. In the quiet that follows, the night itself seems to open around her. This is the quiet renewal of night, a moment where the world softens into stillness, and creation continues through calm rather than motion. The weaver sits before her loom once more, though her hands barely move. The stars above ripple in gentle brightness, carrying no urgency, no demand. She does not weave to restore them anymore. Instead, she allows the breath to guide her, slow and steady. Each inhale invites calm through her hands. Each exhale releases what remains of effort. The light that fills the sky now feeds on her stillness, not her striving. Before her, the weave seems to move of its own accord. Threads slide together easily, as though carried by a current too subtle to see. They respond to peace, not pressure. What once required mastery now unfolds through quiet presence. Around her, even the air feels different, alive and slow, breathing with her. The stars settle into their final rhythm, bright yet soft, reflecting perfect balance. The weaver watches them for a long time. No triumph, no conclusion, just understanding. She sees now that creation and rest are the same motion in different forms. Stillness does not end the story. It completes the circle. Above, the constellations shimmer as if nodding in agreement. And as the night deepens, her breath slows once more. The loom falls silent, but its warmth remains, echoing faintly in the rhythm of her heart. The threads of the universe stretch beyond her now, woven with her emotions, her gratitude, her quiet awareness. The stars overhead flicker softly, then rest. As you drift toward sleep, remember this. You, too, are the weaver. Each thought, each feeling, each breath is a thread in the infinite fabric. When you let go of resistance, when you allow gratitude to rise like light, the universe weaves through you effortlessly. You are the loom, the thread, the dreamer, and the dream. Rest now. The world is still weaving through your breath.